Undergrunt.
Peppermint tea, and saying hello to you. What do we call them? Knowers?
No, yeah, sure.
Through them? Were they the days?
No-ease.
No-ease.
Dem.
Anyway, you folk who hear this, congratulations on all your success. This is the podcast known as They Know. And I am the agent and settler of Huey Hessen. My name is Ba.
I am the agent and settler of Matthew PA. My name is Map.
And we're back with another one. Sorry, this was late. I don't really care, though. They come when they come. I mean, it's much like wizard rules from Lord of the Rings. They're never late or early. They just happen whenever they feel like happening.
You can't rush a conspiracy.
You can't, and I refuse to be rushed. This is quality stuff we're putting out. Anyway,
Did you name this?
Oh yeah, this one has a name.
Okay.
This one is called Everything is Illuminati. It's a play on the title of the 2005 Elijah Wood movie, Everything is Illuminated. Yeah, Illuminated. So, Everything is Illuminati. And in case you didn't guess from the name of this one, this is all about...
it's not the Illuminati. This is about...
It's about...
alleged physical locations
that you could go to
that are tied. Well, one of them you can't.
Well, I mean, you kind of can't go to two of them.
Yeah.
You can definitely
you're
go.
Right.
Yeah,
all right.
You can definitely go to the first one.
Yes. Everybody can go to the first one.
Oh my God. Well, what have you been up to? What have you been doing before we get down with this?
What the fuck?
Well, we're changing things up. All right.
No.
Have you been dealing with any personal conspiracies in your life, Matt?
Not really.
Well, I started watching a new TV show called Project Blue Book. It's on the History Channel of all places, and it's about the government.
Because this shit is real.
It's amazing. The History Channel is ahead of the curve, and you all should be listening to everything they say and taking it as gospel.
It's the History Channel. They can't be ahead of the curve.
They're
documenting the curve.
See, look, if you study
they're
the past,
staunchly behind the curve.
If you study the past, you know the future, man. It's all very clear.
Fine.
Anyway, the second episode of this is the Flatwoods Monster, which is something that we just covered, and it's amazing. I recommend watching it because at the end they go, and you'll see, it was a great horned owl.
We have the Flatwoods Monster here today.
It is amazing. Oh, man. Anyway, that was
that'd be great. Like a Maury Povich style conspiracy show where they're just like, you are not the monster. And they're like, fuck! No DNA evidence of you being at the scene. Like, but my wings.
I'm a large salamander. Anyway, blasting past all that bullshit. Mm-hmm. The first location we're going to discuss today is the DIA, the Denver International Airport. Now, some of you out there are going...
When I first heard that this was
excuse me?
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean there's a conspiracy about an airport?
Oh, there is.
This place where thousands of people walk through every fucking day.
They have a Japanese terminal. They have... It's totally, truly an international airport. And...
Possibly interdimensional airport.
Interdimensional or interstellar at the very least. Now, if you mosey on down to the Denver International Airport Wikipedia page, there's a lot of information about flights, aesthetics, art. But if you keep going down, you'll find conspiracy theories and controversy near the very bottom. So it turns out that there are several conspiracy theories relating to the airport's design and construction, such as the runways being laid out in the shape similar to a swastika.
I mean, I've looked at the picture. You can draw anything over anything. I mean, it's a fucking airport. There have to be long, straight lines. You know what I mean? Like, Think of it. It's a hub that has to have a bunch of long straight lines shooting out of it. How would it look not like a swastika?
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean?
If you're going to take advantage of all four directions,
you need that.
You need that a bit, yeah.
It's insane. It's like any airport probably looks like that.
Yeah.
Most airports probably
but now
have
we're
a similar
specifically
shape.
looking at this one.
Yeah. Well, it's the largest airport in America.
It is. It's huge.
It's the second largest in the world.
And maybe it goes underground, too.
It definitely goes
does.
underground, but what's under there is
what
highly
is under
speculable.
There? So there are murals painted in the baggage area have been claimed to contain themes referencing the future military oppression and a one-world government.
I like that. I love that they're like... All right, there's 4 of these murals.
Yeah.
They've taken 2 of them down.
Yes. I think the one with the Nazi guy got taken down.
Yeah, but it's not a Nazi guy. Well, it sort of is, but I mean, if you're at the fucking airport, you're not walking past all 4 of them.
I gotta say,
you're not like absorbing the story that all 4 of these murals tell. If you're on the first floor and you're walking by the fucking Nazi soldier one with the sword, you're gonna be like, yeah, this is goddamn strange. But it tells, it's supposed to be like a story of like how children are our future.
Yes. And how they're gonna tie back into nature.
They're gonna learn from our
warlike mistakes,
which they summed up visually as this like amalgamated, like it has like a Middle Eastern kind of like sword.
Yeah.
But it has like it almost like a German soldier. It looks like the Fallout character from New Vegas, honestly. From
it really does. It does. It looks like the Desert Ranger.
Yeah. But it's just supposed to like that. It's just supposed to like encapsulate like war and that kind of shit. It's not. It's just,
here they are. The murals are titled "In Peace and Harmony with Nature" and "The Children of the World Dream of Peace."
Is it 2? I thought there were 4.
There's the 2 that got taken down.
Oh, okay.
It says they depict man-made environmental destruction and genocide, along with humanity coming together to heal nature and live in peace. That's what it's about.
Yeah. However, when someone just walks by the scary one, they're like, "What?
What is this?"
And it also doesn't have the entire place. There's all these like pedestal-y type things that are like 10 feet taller. They're so much taller than you.
Yeah.
But at the top of them is a bronze statue of like a gargoyle crawling out of a suitcase.
Which was a joke.
Yeah.
Because they said that the place was so, like a nun said the place was so big it was like a cathedral. So they commissioned gargoyles for the interior cathedral, and they thought it'd be funny to put them coming out of baggage. See, that just goes to show you can't think anything's funny.
No.
Because everyone
jump down your throat.
We'll find a real problem with it. Satanic problems. So conspiracy theorists have also seen unusual markings in the terminals in DIA and have recorded them as Templar markings.
Mm-hmm.
But the Masons actually placed a...
there's a huge granite
slab they made because it's over a time capsule. It's not going to be open until, I think, 2094. And
it has the gestating form of the new lizard overlord.
Exactly. Praise be him
He's
eternally.
Just ready. He is just getting ready.
And so they're like, and one of the articles I read is like a guy giving a tour to all the different, like it's a journalist and he's getting a tour from one of the people who runs the airport to all of the areas that are conspiracy theory hotbeds, and he's like, so yeah, this is just this, and I don't know why people think it's this other thing. Like everywhere he goes, he's
the big slab that has like a Masonic symbol on it. It has this Masonic symbol on it, and it references. It talks about the day the place was built.
Yeah,
like started being built or whatever. But it also says that it was commissioned or planned or something by the New World Airport Consortium or
the New World Airport Commission. And which
is not a thing.
Well, that's the thing.
You can't find any information on the New World Airport.
Here you go.
Commission.
This actually, I did find some information. Okay, here we go. Crime capsule. The other thing that doesn't help us, this is the other thing that doesn't help us is the inscription on the stone says New World Airport Commission. And people rightly say that doesn't exist. Well, that's because it doesn't exist, but it did in 1994. It was a group that was celebrating the opening of the airport. It's written a little wonky. It's supposed to read New, World Airport Commission.
Boy, that doesn't sound like a cover-up.
Honestly,
we just missed a comma.
And then he's like, it doesn't help because it says New World right there. The guy is just like, I get this one's wrong. And then they talk about the underground things, and he's like, I can't take you down there. And I get that that's like a problem, and it's not going to solve anything, and everybody's going to be mad about it.
Dude, I mean, after 9/11, I imagine there's so many rules against anyone going in any part of an airport that it doesn't have clearance. Like, you shouldn't be surprised you're not allowed to go down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what he says. He's like, he says there are no he doesn't know of any secret underground bunkers or shafts. He said, even when we take reporters or TV crews into the secure part of the building, you can't just take people wherever they want to go. It's either not safe or there's a security reason. So no matter what, it's always something we can't show somebody, and that doesn't help the case. The airlines lease these spaces from us, so they have a lot of office space, workspace down in the tunnels. That's theirs, not ours. They pay for it. So, you know, there's a whole lot. See, like, it's weird because there's so much here. Like, there's so many things that you're like, I don't know, man. Like, why are there like 7 things that you all have to explain
Did you hear
away?
about the 5 buildings?
The 5 buildings, no.
So when it first started getting built, they constructed 5. The first thing that was constructed were these 5 buildings in like a sort of like a little house shape, like 4 making a bottom of the house and the top being the steeple of the roof.
Okay.
Kind of shape, and there were these 5 big ass buildings. After they were completed, there was like a press release that was like, yeah, these weren't supposed to be built, but we're not demolishing them. We're just putting the airport on top of them. And people were like, what? Like, they were big buildings, like full buildings. And they were like, we're not going to get rid of them. We're going to use them as the foundation for the airport, ? Like, there's supposedly full buildings underneath the airport that are quote unquote buried.
Yeah.
But people are like, no, they're still connected. They're like hotbeds of Illuminati activity. Which also, I don't know, one of the theories I was listening to was like about how that is like the like day 0 bunker for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Is underneath of it. And it has these tunnels that go way the far out. Actually, got a person on the street, our friend Cack. She was I was talking to her about it. She was like, because she lives in Denver now, and she was like, yeah, it's weird when you look it up. There's like all these missile silos only a few miles away from the airport, and like people say that the tunnels go to them, and that it's like that's like when shit is going to go down, if nuclear war goes off, that's where the government's going to go, is to the Denver International Airport underground, where they can control all these missile silos and have like a base and like a way to live in case the whole planet gets blown up and shit like that. It's like Camp David 2.
Okay.
Right? Because that's a Camp David theory.
Camp David is, that's the thing.
But that's one. That one was really funny because when they were talking about the underground tunnels, they were like, people in Denver, while it was being built, constantly talked about all the concrete pipes and mounds of dirt that were seen for miles outside of the airport when approaching it. Like they were building really long fucking tunnels out of it.
You know,
but I also imagine it's the second largest fucking airport in the world.
Yeah.
You probably have to build new like utility tunnels to get power to it, because it's also an airport, so it's not actually near a city. You know, it's just outside of it. Like, why? I just don't get it. Like, why would you not assume that they'd have to build a bunch of fucking pipelines to lead into this gigantic fucking airport?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. It's such a big undertaking. Of course, there's going to be stuff surrounding it. But there's a lot of specifically weird stuff. It's enough to give you pause. But
the statue out front that people think is cursed.
The big horse.
What's it called? Blucifer. It's a giant blue horse
Blue
statue.
Mustang. It's called the Blue Mustang. And it's this like deep blue color with fiery orange eyes. And it killed the man who made it. Did you know that?
The head fell on him while he was working on it.
Severed an artery in his leg and he killed him. Which is not how I would imagine you die when a statue falls on you.
Yeah, right? You think you'd just be crushed.
You'd just be crushed, but this man actually cut his leg in such a severe way that it killed him. And that's that the guy was like, he glazed over that one. He's like, yeah, there's nothing with this. This is just
it's just a statue.
It's just a statue. We ordered it. It killed the guy who made it, and then his estate had it finished for us, and now it's here. Okay. Yeah, he was burning through stuff, but these people seem to think that the Alpha Draconians, which is what the reptilians are known as, colonized Earth 800,000 years ago before the Lyrian ancestors of mankind arrived from their original planetary home in a distant system. Where theorist David Icke has managed to convince thousands of followers, the global elite. Oh, Icke, sorry.
He is a fucking maniac.
Including the British royal family and the Rothschild family have reptilian DNA and shape-shifting powers. They believe that this, the DIA was built and opened in 1995, despite the fact that it had fewer runways than Stapleton. Yeah, this guy, like this.
Well, that's another thing. People are like, why'd they build the world's second largest airport in a city that already has a pretty decent airport?
Yep. Sinister plans involving the Alpha Draconians from the Orion constellation they're underneath of it. They are actually
building a spaceship under there.
Oh, it's a whole alien. This article is called "There is a Secret Alien Government Underground Base at Denver International Airport." So. Yes, there's that too. So on top of all the Illuminati stuff, it's just aliens.
Well, the Illuminati are reptiles.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true.
I gotta give you that comic. I got it back.
You got it back? All right.
I got it. I told you about that, right?
Yeah. You
okay. Did. All right. There is also currently the Denver airport is being renovated. And certain sections of the building have like when you go to the mall and it has like this will be here soon.
Yeah.
But instead of that, they have all these things poking fun at anyone who thinks.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
There's like a sign with a lizard man on it that's like, well, what's the one? It's like, what could be behind this wall? And it gives you 3 options. And it's like, secret government base, alien experiments, or we're just renovating this building a higher quality airport experience for you.
That's amazing.
Like they're just totally laughing. Yeah, they're like, dude, lean into it. I like that.
That is pretty great.
Yeah, I forget there was 4 of them. There was a lizard person one. There was the multiple choice one. There was like 3. What was the other one? It's like, it was like, doesn't this look suspicious or something? Like they're just like trying to get people to freak out, which is pretty funny.
That's pretty good. I can appreciate a good trolling.
Mm-hmm. But do you think there's anything going on? I don't think there's anything.
I doubt it. It's an airport. It seems like why?
Yeah.
Why would we do it with an airport?
There's, I guess because like a billion other ways. Fly there. If it's an underground base, that makes more sense than hiding aliens.
Theoretically, we already have an underground base in the form of Area 51. Which is purely an underground base. We know that because we see people land, and then you see no activity, and then they come back later on and they fly out. Actually, this is actually pretty interesting. One of my friends, her mother, who was very close, I know her mother pretty well. Her mother's ex-boyfriend, this was related to me, was a government contractor, and he went to Area 51, and when he came back. She's like, what can you tell me? He's like, I'm actually kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
He was like, actually kind of boring. And I'm like, so that guy must have seen some shit.
Just boring shit.
It's just boring shit. They're just spreadsheets.
It's like an alien gave him coffee. He's like, this is boring.
Oh, man. It's just the 9 to 5 with aliens. Yeah. So there you go. Area 51. Kind of boring.
Should we move on?
Yeah, we'll move on to our second location, which some of you may have heard of, which is called the Bohemian Grove.
I have a personal anecdote about the first time I heard about Bohemian Grove.
I am excited to hear it.
It was when Alex Jones released his video.
He's mentioned here like 50 times.
I think it was 97.
No, he was there in 2000.
That was 2000?
Yeah.
So it was 2000. I mean, that tracks.
Okay.
It was in 2000. A friend of mine. I know. I guess he must have not. Well, this is when I first found out about it. So I guess it wasn't when the video was first released, because this must have been 2003. Just thinking about where I was in life. But a friend of mine who lost his fucking mind doing like DMT and salvia and shit. He like lived on this farm in like just outside of the city, like on Reisterstown Road.
Yeah.
Where there's a couple, like there's farm.
I know what you're talking about.
He lived in this community with a bunch of fucking maniacs. Because I went to go visit him. Like, he moved there and he lived there for a while, and he's a lunatic. He's a maniac. He's crazy drug head, like conspiracy theory fucking maniac. When that was fun to hang out with people like that. So he was like, he's having a party or some shit at his house. He invited Brad and I, and we go to his house. Long story short, we're waiting for him in a shack that his wife told us he might be in. She was like cooking food, and she was just like, hey, if you want to walk around the property, look at everything, hang out in the shed, Jamie will be back. That'll probably be the first place he goes. And I was like, okay. So we walked around the property. It was just this big farm. It was cool. It was neat. He had this cool metal sculpture of a TV monster near the shed. And we're like, oh, that's got to be the shed. Let's go to the shed. We opened the door to the shed. The shed is a nightmare. The shed is covered in scrawlings, paint. He's drawn all over the floor, ceiling, and walls with glow-in-the-dark paint, not glow-in-the-dark paint. Tons. There's just a shelf full of paint and paintbrushes. A shelf full of toys from like the 50s and 60s, like light up, like those like guns that make sparks in the middle and stuff. Whole bunch of weird toys. These crazy glasses. I don't even want to get into that, but he had all this crazy stuff on the wall, and then there was a pedestal. Oh, and on the one side was a computer, a keyboard, a bass amp, and a bass, and like that was over on the one side. It's this tiny little, like probably 10 by 20 little shack. It was like a 1-horse stable that he converted into this thing. And there's a punching bag in the horse part. We're in there. All right, we walk in, surveying the scene of like, my God, he's lost his mind in this room. There's a pedestal in the middle of the room with a chest on it, like a D&D style, like you found treasure chest with the lock. But the lock was off. So we're like, all right, let's look in the box. It's full of drugs. Just full of drugs I've never even seen or couldn't recognize. We're like pulling out these huge bags of like yellow powder and shit. And we're like, what the fuck is Jamie doing in here? He shows up, puts on a video. He goes, oh man, you guys are here. Cool. Shuts the door, closes the little window, turns off all the lights, starts blasting death metal with a strobe light, and turns on a fog machine. And then he's like, yo, have you ever heard of Bohemian Grove? And then put on Alex Jones's like video evidence of what goes on at Bohemian Grove while he just loses his fucking mind explaining how they're controlling the world and shit. Dude, that was like the last time I ever saw that guy, I think. No, I saw him one more time after that, but I was like, okay, can't come here anymore.
That's incredible. Oh my God. Yeah.
He's a crazy person. But he showed me that video a long time ago, and even then I was like, this is real stupid.
That's amazing.
That was my introduction to Bohemian Grove, where I was like presented to it in a fashion where I couldn't possibly put any stock into it. And like I was just like, well, this is all bullshit.
That's amazing, man.
But yeah.
That sounds...
Bohemian Grove.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, it was
right.
Something else.
The Wikipedia defines Bohemian Grove as Bohemian Grove is a restricted 2,700-acre campground located at 2601 Bohemian Avenue in Monterey, California, belonging to a private San Francisco-based gentlemen's club known as the Bohemian Club. In mid-July every year, Bohemian Grove hosts a more than 2-week encampment of some of the most prominent men in the world. It is men only.
It's men only, and it always says world, but the more I looked into it, it's mostly American.
It's mostly America, yeah.
There are few businessmen from outside of the country, not politicians. It's mostly businessmen.
Yeah, and the idea behind it is there is a slogan which is, I believe it's weaving spiders come not here.
Yeah.
And basically what that means is...
Don't bring your work to
leave
play.
your business out. We're just having fun here.
Yeah.
And it's presented in a way, like at least to the public, that is pretty just like a bunch of people having weird, wacky fun in the woods. There's redwood trees. But when you drill down, it does have weird things about it. But I think it's just because...
Well, any organization... That's someone we're going to touch on this one and the next one.
Yeah.
The lack of information on this and the next place is seriously it's just lets people's minds run wild. And the very scant information anyone's ever gotten from either place just sort of helps to reinforce anything you've come up with.
Yeah.
Because there's no information. No one talks about it.
It's possible they even feed into it. I would believe that they were like, they feed into that to a certain...
The people who own the property, there's no way they don't.
Yeah.
They have to love the fact that people protest outside of it every year.
Yeah, and the people try and get in.
Yeah.
So they have their own private security service who is like ex-military. Like they are serious.
It's like Blackwater shit, yeah.
Yeah, and they use motion detectors and heat sensors and like night vision, all sorts of stuff to make sure nobody gets there. And then during the 17 days that the event happens, they have everything. It's shockingly cheap to join this group.
No, I didn't look at how much it costs.
It costs, hold on, I want to say it's $2,400 for your initial joining.
Okay.
And then $600 a year.
Just be a part
of it.
$3,000 for your Bohemian Grove.
For your first year, and then every $600 every year, which is not nearly as steep as I would think that this would be.
Right? As much as they're like, it's the political elite.
So like they just don't...
It's like, I can afford that.
Yeah, I could afford that. I could go... I guess you need to be invited to some extent.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but you can bring guests. Like, it doesn't seem that secretive. It's just... weird. It's just, people don't like rich people all going to a place where they can't go.
Yes.
That's all it is.
That's really all it is for this one. I mean, they do, okay.
They do weird shit.
Alex Jones in 2000. Dude, did you watch his video?
No, I don't watch videos.
Oh my God. His quote-unquote documentary about him going to Bohemian Grove is unreal.
Well, there have been 4 people who have successfully infiltrated Bohemian Grove. So Bohemian Grove started in like the 1800s. It's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But this is the first time somebody broke in that's been registered. In the summer of 1980, Rick Kloger gained entrance to the Grove with the help of an employee and posed as a worker during 2 weekends of the annual encampment. His efforts, the first magazine reporting from inside the Grove, was published on August 1981 in an issue of Mother Jones. Around the same time, ABC Evening News aired a special report on Bohemian Grove. And then in summer of 1989, spy magazine Philip Weiss spent 7 days in the camp posing as a guest, which led to his November 1989 article, Inside the Bohemian Grove. He was eventually discovered and arrested for trespassing. Mm-hmm. On July 15th, 2000, controversial radio host Alex Jones and his cameraman, Mike Hansen, snuck in and shot footage of the cremation of care ceremony, which Jones incorrectly identified as an occult ritual.
It's druidic.
It's druidic. And it's basically like there's a giant owl.
It's Moloch.
Moloch the owl is the name.
Yeah.
And and then
it's like an old god. It's whatever.
It all seems to be pageantry. Like they're all just doing it to be.
Dude, did you watch it?
No.
I mean, you don't watch any video. Okay.
No.
If you watch the cremation of care, so the cremation of care is like this ceremony that starts off the weekend or the 2-week thing. It's like happens, I think, the first night or the second night. I think people show up at night the first day, and then this happens the second night.
Yeah.
They meet at dude. It's so boring. I watched the whole thing. It's like so boring. It's like a skull-shaped boat floats up to a bunch of people in robes holding fucking torches in front of the owl. There's this big urn. They burn an effigy. They have like sound effects of the effigy speaking to them as, I forget what it is. It's some being that you're supposed to... Everybody's like, the cremation of care. This is great because all the crazy people talking about it outside the Grove, like protesting it, they're like, it's called the cremation of care, and it's just so that they do it first so they have no cares in the world, and then they make all these terrible plans to enslave us and all this stuff. And it's like it's just a bunch of people in the woods. It's getting weird, man.
Dude, it even tells you what it's about. They have a breakdown of it on the Wikipedia page.
Of the cremation of care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But first, there's one more thing. One more person successfully gained entry.
Ooh.
My favorite one, who's some sort of, like, Punisher knockoff.
Okay.
On January 19, 2002, 37-year-old Richard McCaslin was arrested after a nighttime infiltration of the Bohemian Grove, where he set several fires. He was heavily armed and wearing a skull mask and outfitted with a Phantom Patriot written across his chest. This is my favorite part. No Bohemian Club or members or guests were present at the Grove at this time.
So he broke in not during it. Man.
That's amazing. He's like, I'll get those fuckers.
Like, what was he heavily armed for? There's nobody there. Oh, my God.
I love that.
But it's just they burn a thing, they shoot off all these fireworks, and then they clap and they play shitty music from, like, the 20s.
Yeah.
It's like...
Here we go.
Nothing.
The cremation of care ceremony is a theatrical production in which some of the club's members participate as actors. It was first conducted in 1881. The production was devised by James F. Bowman, with George T. Bromley playing the High Priest. It was originally set up within the plot of the serious Hijinks dramatic performance on the first weekend of every summer encampment. After which the spirit of Care, slain by the Jinx hero, was solemnly cremated. The ceremony serves as a catharsis for pent-up high spirits and to present symbolically the salvation of the trees by the club. The cremation of care was separated from the other Grove plays in 1931 and moved to the first night to become an exorcising of the demon to ensure the success of the ensuing 2 weeks. The Grove play was moved to the last weekend of the encampment. The ceremony takes place in front of the owl statue. The moss and lichen-covered statue simulates a natural rock formation, yet holds electrical and audio equipment within it. For many years, a recording of the voice of club member Walter Cronkite was used as the voice of the owl during the ceremony. Music and pyrotechnics accompany the ritual for dramatic effect. Now,
all right,
it is weird.
If you took a baseball game, a full stadium baseball game, all the entrapments of a baseball game,
and then you
hid it in the woods, did not let anybody who didn't pay $3,000 go to the game, someone would sneak in, film them. If you've never heard the national anthem, like, just say, like, you'd be like, they start with some weird ceremony where they play this song, everyone stands up and makes some sort of oath to a standing in the middle of the field in a tuxedo, and then everything about the game would seem insane. They'd be like, oh my God, like after 7 innings, whatever that means, they had a hot dog and a ketchup dispenser and a mustard dispenser. They had effigies raised around the thing, and they probably murdered anybody who didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
they hit this spheroid, which represents the human skull.
It's white like a skull, and they're bashing it, and it's small like a child. So clearly they're killing children here. You know, it's just like, Jesus H. Christ, man. The whole thing about kids getting killed there is because there's a handbill. It's a fucking play at a place people paid to be. You get handed a handbill that explains the show, and in it there's a little demon on the cover sweeping up. There's like symbols of this demon all over the place. It's this little demon, and he's always sweeping up ashes or just doing something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, there's something about burning, and they're burning things. And then in the creation of care, like the like cover photo for the fucking thing, there's like bones. It's like these little hands and a head. And they're like, well, it's a fucking like cartoon drawing. Like, it's not to scale. And people are like, if you look at the size of the head compared to the hands, it's clearly a child. So they're killing children for this thing.
Obviously. And then drawing them.
And drawing it. Oh my God. And then Alex Jones, all right, so his video is him there. Most of it is him getting ready to break in. And he's like with these 2 British guys who have all this intel and a map and shit. And they're giving it to him because they're afraid to go in. And he's like, oh, I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm going to go in there, blah, 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 blah. He's got this shitty camera like that looks like a pager. All right, so all this setup is them talking about how dangerous what they're doing is for like 35, 40 minutes. And the whole time they're doing the like, well, they're burning all these kids. Just like saying all this
hyping
shit.
It up,
just hyping it up. Then you watch 40 minutes of him in the goddamn place, and it's just him walking around. No one says a fucking word to him. He's always like, and in the video, he'll be like, well, this is the point after I was approached by 2 security officers and had to explain. He like lied and said he was like part of the Bush camp. They're called the Hillbillies. It's like, what? It's just like nothing happened. No one was like, who are you? What's going on? There was just them walking around looking at shit. No one fucked with them at any point. He goes, we're going to find a good vantage point to like film this creation of care thing. You know where his great vantage point was?
No.
The crowd. He was in the back of the crowd. He's just sitting all the way in the back. He didn't like find a secret place to hide and film anything. He's just standing behind everyone sitting, watching it happen.
That's incredible.
And then he left.
Wow.
And you're like, okay. I just spent an hour and a half. I've learned nothing. I watched a play in like really shitty quality that you couldn't even see. It was just him describing things. It's unreal, man. And then when I've heard him talk about it outside of, I've never watched that.
Yeah.
So when he talks about outside of it, he'll be like, there's all kinds of naked people running around and stuff. Everyone's clothed. No one's being weird. There's nothing crazy going on. And he talks about like, he was like, oh, they kept hooting and hollering at me. I didn't feel safe. Felt like a piece of meat in there and all this stuff. And it's like, you didn't experience any of this.
He's just making it up.
He's just making it up. It's like, oh, they're doing all this crazy orgies and I saw things you wouldn't believe. And it's like, then why isn't it on the camera? Where is it? You had a camera on your hip for 5 hours in this fucking place.
Why didn't you show us the shit you're talking about?
Yeah. Or instead you just show us the fucking lame thing. One of my favorite things is there's a interview with Richard Nixon that Alex Jones loves to quote. Where Richard Nixon is being interviewed by someone for a magazine or something, and they asked him about it, but it didn't make it into the article, but it's on the tape. They asked him about the Bohemian Grove, and his response is amazing. It's so flippant and like, what do you call it? Like
dismissive?
Dismissive. Yeah. He's just like, oh, you mean that fucking San Francisco thing? And the guy's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, it's all these fucking people from San Francisco go out in the woods. And it's excuse my language, but he quote said, it's the goddamn faggiest thing I've ever seen. And just writes it off. He was like, yeah, I went once. It was fucking lame. And I would never go again. And he quotes that all the time for the orgies to prove that there were orgies and stuff. But Richard Nixon also is like a homophobe who like after that comment stated, I wouldn't even shake a person from San Francisco's hand or some shit. He says like that, where he's just like, fuck them. Like,
that's insane.
He just like,
he's a president. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He said that shit about it. And I don't know why Alex Jones constantly quotes that. Because it's super dismissive. It doesn't give you any information.
Yeah, he's just like,
you know what I mean? Like, he just kind of was like, yeah, it's fucking shitty. It's whatever.
I'm not doing it.
Just his choice of words and him being a homophobe now is like, oh, well, President Richard Nixon said that there were gay orgies at Bohemian Grove. And you're like, no, he didn't. He didn't fucking say that at all. And I forget who it was. It was some like senator or congressman. I watched him. So it's Alex Jones like confronting this guy, being like, "You've been to Bohemian Grove? Have you ever been to the Bohemian Grove?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm a member of the Grove." And he goes, "Well, I went there one year. I went there in 2000. And I filmed the cremation of care. That was me. I was the one who did that." And the guy's just like, "Well, I disrespect you for breaking the oath. You're not supposed to do that." And I just, that's what it is. He's like, I disrespect you for filming that and letting anybody see it, because when you go in there, you promise not to do that. Yeah. And he goes, well, I snuck in. And he goes, well, I doubly disrespect you then. And he tries to stop talking to him. And he's like, I don't want to talk to you or about this at all. And like walks away. Never once does he yell. He doesn't get like flustered. Yeah. He's just kind of like, I disrespect you. And it's like the most like civil way to just be like, no, I disrespect you. Yeah. I'm done with this conversation. When he talks about it in the documentary, he's like, that guy, I've never seen him be so flustered. He tried to attack me for bringing up the Bohemian Grove. And he's like, that guy's been interviewed by thousands of people. I was the only one who ever got him that angry. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He just lives in another world, man.
Oh my God.
We got to steer away from Alex Jones.
Nobody talks about it. You're not allowed to talk about it.
They talk.
So everybody goes crazy. And they're just like, no. I don't remember what it is. Someone said that the Manhattan Project was birthed there.
Yeah, I've read that, yeah.
Yeah, and like, I think that's where it all started. I think up until that point, it was just a place nobody knew about because it was secret.
Which is bad because that means somebody brought work to the Bohemian Grove.
They were fucking not, they were still weaving in the Grove. But, I don't know, it's like the Bilderberger stuff where like, people who talk about it are just like, yeah, it's nothing. But because the majority of people involved don't talk about it or won't talk about it, it just leaves the door open for all this shit. I watched a really good clip of this guy who like who was like invited to the Bilderberg group one year, and this guy's like interviewing him, trying to be like, what is it like? What is the blah blah blah? And he's like, I don't know, I was hired to give a talk, and I talked about environmental policies around the world. I gave a 2-hour talk about that, and then I watched a couple other, maybe 5 or 6 people talk.
But when did they kill the children?
Yeah, and he's like, no. I was like, it was just a symposium. So I was invited there to speak, and I watched other people speak. but they're just like, no, but there's some shit going on there, right? And he's like, no.
Dude, there's a picture of the cremation of care, and it's just like there's a lit lantern, and in front of the lantern, people are like, that's a human skeleton. But it is so clearly just shrubs.
That's the picture I'm talking about. That's the picture on the pamphlet.
Yeah.
It's like a picture from a really old one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. They're saying that has to be a child. Dude, it's just like a drawing.
It's nothing.
It's like a stylized drawing.
God. It's not even a skeleton, man.
Dude.
It's barely anything. It just looks like shrubs.
Dude,
if that was
a child, he was a T-Rex. Or he had the hands of a 50-year-old man who was like a woodworker.
Jesus.
Like, look at the knuckles on that fucking hand.
Dude, they love talking about how the owl is on the dollar bill. So many circles and zooms in on the fucking owl. That's here twice, by the way. It's up here, and it tells you to watch out because you're not going to sleep it. To help you lose more sleep tonight, take a look at what's hiding on every dollar bill. That's right,
That's
owl.
Great that's an owl, because when I first saw that thing, I was told it was a spider.
Well, there we go. The spiders weave not here, Matt.
Oh, shit.
Double layers, Matt.
So it's still there. Damn.
Yeah, anyway. They talk about skull and bones. They show devil symmetry. This, just so you know, is www.jesus-savior.com. So, keep an eye out for that shit.
Mm-hmm. There was a thing I was watching. I forget when it was. It was like a person interviewed. I guess it would have to been after 1997. So it was probably around when Alex Jones was there. I was telling you, they were interviewing people about what they protesters, asking them what they think goes on in there. And that was where a woman, like, explained Morgellons.
Oh, brilliant.
She was like, they developed this new disease. She called it a disease. They had like these lights. She's like, do you see this like illuminated fiber underneath my skin? That's the Morgellons, and everybody has them. And shit like that. Like, they think that they're just in there for 2.5 weeks a year building diseases and planning wars and stuff. When, there's 2,000 people there, and like, they're always like, it's the government elite. Like, they released the rosters, and I think it was like presidents have gone and stuff, but it's not like everyone's there. It's like, yeah, Bill Clinton was there. He went there once.
So
it's all these people who went there once.
Yeah.
Where they're like, yeah, I went, I checked it out. It was fucking lame, and I didn't go back.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's that interesting. It was made in 1870.
Well, that's why it probably is just a bunch of people fucking in the woods.
I have anything better to do.
Well, they say that there's like prostitution rings that are fully funded by the Bohemian Grove every year. What else? Although it's an all-male organization, but because of labor laws, the women are like able to work there now. Like in the staff.
Yeah.
They've only recently, within like 5 or 6 years, started staffing women there.
But and there were
because there were
4 honorary members who were women in the early days. But the last one died in 1920. So they're long. They haven't had any since then. But they were like four women who helped found everything, and one of them was the treasurer for a while. So just before we move on to our final location, so this one of the pages I found, maybe the first 5% of this page is the actual article. The rest of it is comments. So here's a comment. Benefits given to new members who join the Illuminati.
Day one package. Let's hear it.
A cash reward worth $1 million after the initiation. A new sleek dream car valued at $33,000 US.
Wait, hold on. What year was that written? Dude, wait a minute. Here's $1 million and a mid-level luxury vehicle.
That was posted in 2018.
Oh my God. $33,000. That's not getting any kind of cool car.
Oh, Jesus. A dream house bought in the country of your own choice. 1 month of holiday fully paid to your dream tourist destination. 1 year golf membership package. VIP treatment in all airports in the world.
Dude, if I fucking struggled and oppressed people and lied and murdered and buried bodies enough to get into the Illuminati, and I got a 1 year golf membership, like, get the fuck out of here.
This is amazing.
1 year of going free golf. Woo!
This is like what a poor person imagines a rich person's like.
Dude, he was driving around in a $33,000 car. What is he, a fucking czar?
Jesus Christ. I like number 7 here. A total lifestyle change.
No shit. You're now a fucking triangle head cyclops.
Access to Bohemian Grove. Finally. Monthly payments of $1 million into your bank account every month as a member, which is a monthly payment. Why would you say monthly every month? And then a 1 month booked appointment with top 5 world leaders and top 5 celebrities in the world.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, say that again?
A 1 month booked appointment with top 5 world leaders and top 5 celebrities in the world.
Wait, what? What does that even mean? You spend a month you pick 5 people and you get to spend a month with them? Or do you have a month to hang out with 5 people, but they're not going to come to you?
See, now this is interesting.
What the fuck?
Dude, okay, now we go down. Rich, famous, powerful in life. Join the Illuminati Brotherhood cult today and get instant rich, a sum of $2 million a week. But it just said that you're getting $1 million a month. And a free home anywhere you choose to live in this world. Also, you get $2 million US monthly as a salary. This has changed
within the typing of itself,
dude.
That's ridiculous.
Wow. So you can you just have to provide some information to them, and you can join.
I think if anybody's interested in watching the Alex Jones thing, it's sort of worth it for the beginning part when they're interviewing the people in the town, because Alex Jones is like acting like he's about to uncover something or he's going to blow their minds, and everybody just kind of goes, yeah, I've heard about that. Who cares? Like, they're like, yeah, they got like a giant owl statue and shit out there. And he's like, don't you think that's weird? And they're like, I mean, it's a private organization. Like, everybody he interviews is very reasonable about it. They're like, it's a private organization. I imagine they have a lot of weird things going on out there.
Just so you know, every comment is the comment about how to join the Illuminati.
Boy. Are you just scrolling through the same
I just got to the bottom. It was posted January 26th, 2 days ago. Join the Illuminati Brotherhood. The new member will receive the sum of $120 million, a car and a house in any part of the world. We are not forcing anybody. If you're not interested, please don't apply. If you guys want to join the Illuminati, just email illuminatib53@gmail.com.
Illuminati Girl 48XXX, holler! What?
Make sure you include your name.
Man, if it was like a Hotmail or like Yahoo email, that would be
amazing. Make sure you include your name, next of kin, address, marital status, country, state, occupation, and your mobile line. And you'll get $120 million and a $33,000.
Dude, let's do it. Quit.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm joining.
He's out. He's joining Illuminati. Anyway.
Stupid.
It says beware of scammers. There is no membership fee. You just have to, I guess, kill an infant or something. Anyway.
Probably. Who knows?
Anyway, we're on to our last location.
Last one. It's in Belgium.
It is in Belgium. It has two names.
Chateau de Blair. What is it?
It's Chateau d'Amouroi. And it is a castle in Belgium, as you have said.
What's the town called?
Bouillon. And it replaced an original building that was destroyed by a fire. If you go to the Wikipedia page, there is absolutely nothing remarkable about it. It doesn't even reference the fact that there is a conspiracy around it, which is rare. Usually, Wikipedia will be like, hey, there's something weird about this place.
Not there.
Nothing.
That's actually very telling. That I think this is the most legit place out of this list for something weird going on that no one knows about. Because
I'll tell you this:
that is super strange. I didn't look at the Wikipedia page. The fact that it doesn't even mention any of this.
It's only a paragraph of stuff. It's very small.
Well, this is why I was bringing up on the last one. This one, there is no information about. There are not photos of the inside of the building. No one has ever stepped inside of this building that isn't clearly not willing to speak about it or owns it.
Yes.
No one goes in and out of this place. It's this huge fucking. It's booby trapped to all hell in the woods that surround it. Apparently, I've watched videos of people being like, "This is about as close as I'm willing to get," and they're like, "See this tripwire? See that tripwire? See those fucking lights up there?" It's all kind of hidden, but when you're there, you can see it.
Yeah.
But if you're like 100 feet out, it just looks like woods. But when you get in the woods, it's like covered in booby traps and spotlights and fucking all kinds of crazy shit.
You see, the thing is interesting is all the things I found. I looked for a few of them. I didn't look at all of them, but they scrubbed it from the internet. It's like legit. Like these people who post images, it's like a rescued Google Maps image. And if you look at the top-down view of the castle, it's just a blue blob. Like it's been washed out. Like look, that's actually the real Google Maps thing.
Oh, I saw a picture of the shape of it.
And now
from the sky.
It's just a blue blob, or it was. I'm not sure if it's been, but that is. They're like, this is what I found when I looked at it, and that's all it is. And
it is very.
It's
clearly
weird.
Being hidden.
It's weird, man.
And what is it? It's currently owned by the family that produced Prozac.
Yes.
That invented or like paid to fund the study to develop Prozac.
Castle is owned by Solvay, the people who provide us with the controversial antidepressant for people, example Prozac and paroxetine, drugs which have been held responsible for the for the scourge of mass killings being witnessed in schools and universities around the world. Solvay also provides children's camps across the globe, and interestingly, in Brussels. Would you trust these people to look after your child? So,
one of the things I saw was a person saying that Prozac actually has children in it.
Holy shit.
They were like, we've found traces of hair and bone.
The secret ingredient is people. Oh my god.
So this castle allegedly once, which is funny because it was rebuilt. When did the original place, when did it get rebuilt?
Hold on.
Because one of the facts I heard now is in highly questionable because of that. You just saying it was rebuilt.
Purchased in 1849.
Yep.
1859, the property was purchased by Theodore van der Noot. 10 years later, property was sold to Prince Philippe.
After a fire destroyed the castle in 1873, Philippe of Belgium commissioned the architect Gustave Saintenoy to build a replacement. Saintenoy! The chapel received special attention and received polychromes. The park houses redwoods and a 158 meter long bower. Thousands of plants and flower species were flown in. Several greenhouses. Prince Philippe also planned sumptuous stables. Passionate about hunting, he spent several months a year at the castle. When Prince Philippe died in 1905, his 3 children inherited the castle and sold it to Liege-wood merchant Robert Collet for 7 million francs. He cut down practically all the trees and resold the property 3 years later to Alice Solvay, the niece of Ernest Solvay. Today the estate still belongs to his descendants. During the First World War, German soldiers occupied the castle, which left the castle without major damage except to the wine cellar. That is all it says. There's nothing else here. It just tells you the residence. And so the last bit of information we have is from World War II.
There was a photo in a magazine of a single room in the castle from like the 40s, I think. That I saw.
Well, I mean,
it was like a drawing room or something. It wasn't a big room, but it was very fancy, and it was like one of the only photographs that anyone's ever found of it. And it was like pre-World War II photograph. So, well, the one thing I heard was that it is supposedly, obviously not that castle, but the castle before it was owned by Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, in Belgium?
Yeah, that is what people say.
I don't know, man. Like, so
and what's her name? I forget her name. The woman who bathed in her servant's blood.
Bathory?
Yeah, is it Elizabeth?
Bathory.
Okay. Whatever, the Blood Queen.
Elizabeth Bathory, yeah.
Okay. She also supposedly lived there for a time, from what I've heard. But like I said, they scrubbed. You cannot find information about this fucking place.
It was surprisingly difficult to find really any photos, really anything. There's nothing. Like somebody did a good job on this.
The best you can do is there's tons of YouTube videos of people in the woods filming it through trees.
You
can't get a good look at it. They're just like, I think there's a chapel past there. You can sort of see stuff. Like, you can't, nobody knows fuck all about it.
I'm always wonder why like a bunch of these more reckless, like drugged out people don't get together and just like storm places like this. You know? I'm always like,
they're all afraid of getting black bagged in a race, dude. Doesn't matter if you got 100 or 1,000 lunatics.
I want to see
like 700 people sleeping in their car just storm a castle in Belgium.
What do they have to lose? Reveal it. Just fucking go for it.
It's true.
I want you all to be mowed down as you run through that forest. You lose half your number immediately. And then you get to the gates and you're fighting off fucking Satan dogs and shit.
Yeah,
and then live stream it.
Do you know how bad? There was a guy he was like, see this tripwire? I was like, just touch it. Fucking grab a stick, throw it at the fucking thing, see what happens.
Just stand back and do it.
Do it. But they're like afraid that there's just like demons are gonna fly. I guess like gargoyles are gonna fly up the castle.
Yeah, we got these tripwire gargoyles. I mean, I
just wanted them to throw a rock at something.
Do something.
Yeah.
Do something. Like, it's like, if you want me to buy into this, you need to actually start following through, right, you bastards.
I'm going to get you in. You ready?
Yeah.
Like I told you, I watched an hour-long thing, what I thought was going to be about this castle.
Yeah.
But it basically just, like, helped me realize that there's probably something going on there with all the secrecy and erasure. Because there's a guy named Mark Dutroux who, in the 90s, basically, people were reporting seeing him, like, moving children, like, tied up children into his house. And for whatever reason, it was not investigated. The guy's own mother was like, wrote a letter to the police saying, I think my son is holding people captive in a secret room in his basement. And they still did not look into it. Until there was some, like, chief of police guy who got a bug up his ass and was like, I'm going to fucking settle this. Went there, found a fucking cage in his basement with 2 kids in it. These 2 girls that had been missing for like a week or 2 or 2 weeks or something, or a month or something like that. He finds these 2 girls in there. They get the kids out. Everybody is like, pedophile ring.
Yeah.
There is no investigation done. The guy who caught him and rescued those children became like a national hero and then was fired, replaced by a guy who said he wasn't going to look into it.
What the fuck?
And every person involved in it so it's real interesting. Every person that was, so the 2 girls that were rescued, the guy who rescued them, and one other person, anybody who was involved in that is alive. Everyone who is involved in all the non-heavily publicized things is not alive. They are all dead. Every single person that's ever called a newspaper and been like, I have information on Marc Dutroux, dies, disappears, is never heard from again. Every single person except for the people that everyone saw talk about it. And those people now, apparently in Belgium, if you bring up that pedophile ring, people just think you're crazy. They immediately are like, oh, you're one of those people.
Man.
And they fucking like ostracize you for bringing it up. But like as far as the government's concerned, they, like I was telling you, there was all these, I watched an interview with this person, like the thing I was watching, they went to interview a bunch of people that worked on the case that eventually got dropped, who were like, basically, it's sort of like Freedom of Information Act kind of stuff. Like a bunch of information eventually got released, and when you look at them, you can clearly see that there's been tampering with official statements made. Where when you look at detective notes versus the finished report, they say absolutely different things.
Dude.
And they were interviewing those police officers, and every single one of them is like, their life is in shambles, and they're being sued over this stuff constantly. And they're just like, I was told to fucking do this, and now I'm like being raked over the coals for it now.
Yeah.
And it was I'm just like a guy at a desk. Like
Jesus Christ.
Like it was crazy, dude. Tons of people died. It's called the Dutroux Affair. It was like this huge thing. There's a couple books about it. They call them the Belgian X-Files. Every report of child molestation or kidnapping or pedophile rings, they're referred to as the Belgium X-Files, and people just won't touch them. But there was like a book written about it.
That's wild.
But as far, apparently, like the government in Belgium did their damnedest to fucking cover that up. As far as, I mean,
that's bizarre.
As far as any evidence, there's no evidence saying otherwise because they don't let you know anything. But like the whole idea was that he was like the guy bringing, there was some note in his stuff when they arrested him.
Yeah.
There was a note they found written in like calligraphy or some shit. It was like this fancy looking note that was asking him to bring presents in quotation marks for the guests at that castle for some weekend. It was like a date. That castle, we have some guests. They need we need you to procure presents for them.
Jesus Christ!
And it was signed Anubis.
What? That's insane.
That was apparently paperwork that they found in his stuff. But all that got buried. And you're not allowed, like, public opinion now. It went from, like, there was, I forget what it was called, the White March. It was like a march against the government to reveal this, to investigate and reveal the pedophile ring. It was like it was the largest political protest in Belgium ever. Everybody wore white and carried white balloons. And, like, the government was like,
no.
Yeah, we're getting rid of we're done talking about this.
That's crazy.
So that place probably has
fucked.
some people killed in it.
Yeah.
Well, that was the funniest thing, because I was telling people about when I first heard about it. I was telling people about it where one of the guys, like, because there's no information, that lets people go wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Their imagination runs wild. So, like, they have this castle you don't know anything about. You have this pedophile ring that people think was attached to it. So then you get a guy who's like in a video as an expert on the castle telling you, sing this sentence. Every day, a child is murdered in that castle. Their blood is drained into a container where a man takes a quill pen, dips it into that blood, and writes down everything that the Illuminati did on that day. Every day. They bring a child in to drain them of all their blood.
Just wring them out.
To document the Illuminati's plans every day. And when I told people about that, everybody was like, that's a lot of kids. And I was like, that's a lot of minutia. And if you are a secret organization that nobody's supposed to know about, but sort of does, and you need to keep things hidden, why would you then murder a child a day to write down what you did that no one's supposed to know about in blood and then file it somewhere? That has to be filed. Do you think they digitized it by now? I don't know.
They just slaughter Sims children.
Well, it's like in Scud, the Disposable Assassin, there's a point where for anybody listening, it's a comic book. It's great.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin is an immortal voodoo wizard in it, and there's a part where he's trying to summon Satan, and to do so, he slices this woman's throat, and then just smears some blood on a CD drive. And like closes it, and it opens a portal to Satan. It's just fucking awesome.
That's amazing.
Like with a dial-up modem and a CD drive and some innocent person's blood, you can call Satan anytime you want. But it's like that. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Where did you get any of that information? When has anybody ever seen the papers? What the fuck are you talking about?
Thing that runs true through every one of these we look at. Like, where did you get this information?
Like it's like underpants gnomes.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Somehow I'm looking at a guy who thinks he's an expert in a fucking Argyle sweater, and he's saying things like they're true, but there's a step missing. There's all these question marks.
Woo!
But that kills me, man. Every day there's some guy's job. Fuck, here we go again. What did we do today? What did we do today, guys? I gotta write it down in this kid's blood. How many sheets of paper does it take?
Congeal, come on!
Just a million.
We're going to get another one in here.
That situation raises so many fucking unanswerable questions, it's unreal. You can't do that.
Are we just breeding ink children? Like, is there like an ink ring?
Oh, that's the one thing. So somebody who's been in that building, confirmed. So the one girl that escaped, she's still alive. She runs like a horse farm or something in the middle of nowhere, and she likes to be left alone because she's just like, nobody seems to give a fuck about the fact that I was raped and tortured for years and escaped. And she described she described a couple rooms in the building. To absolute accuracy, to someone who had been inside, they were like, no, there's no way she should know that. The only way you would know anything about that building is if you were there. And I've been there, and those descriptions of the foyer and the drawing room and the whatever, they were like, that was
dead on.
Totally accurate. And she said that there's an underground mushroom farm under there. That's what she said. It was an underground mushroom farm. She was taken into the building, taken underground, and then she watched, I forget who it was, some like politician murder a child in front of her. And then Detroit took her away.
What the fuck?
She described, she didn't know about the castle. She'd never heard of it. She was like a kid.
Yeah.
So when she's telling the police all this stuff, she's like, this road. She described getting to it, then described rooms in a building that no one's ever been inside of or have photo of.
Yeah.
And they were still like,
it's probably just a coincidence.
Not looking into it.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Pretty crazy shit.
Well, that's the last location. So you know what that means.
Oh no. Is this the last one?
This is the final.
Here it is.
The final goose inning. I hope you're all strapped in. I'm strapped in. Here we go. Goose Lady. The conclusion.
End game.
Topic, other. Subject, an unusual visual occurrence. Codalville, Missouri. Comment or question. On Sunday, February 21st, 2016, at about sundown, around 5:30 p.m. or so, maybe a little later than that, I walked over to the Walmart store and back, Highway 94 and the Youngerman area, St. Peter's, On the way back, I stopped on a little place where there are just pine trees and stood over Highway 94 and Central School Road. At about 4191 Central School Road, there is an intersection of St. Peter's and Howell Road. She's so detailed in this one. We could literally go to this. Man, we got to go to Codalville, Missouri.
I will admit that P.B. Squelly offered possibly to give us her address, and I was like,
what?
He was like, I can tell you where she lives, but I'm not giving you her phone number or her email.
Dude. Oh my God, that's so much better. I mean, I'm not going to call her. I don't want to...
we got to knock on her door and pretend to be blogging activists.
Or we have like people from like CERN. All right, let's see here. About 1 mile west is an MO. Missouri Transportation Center, or at or about that area, I saw what appeared to be a huge wall of ... And it was a darkened form with lingering running through it. Lightning. Well, that's poorly spelled. With lightning running through it. I had not walked west on St. Peter's Howell Road in quite a while. When I did earlier in the day, I noticed an added tower in front of the MO. Building. There is a lot of blogging aimed at the entire area. And with the above site, I was wondering...
They've learned how to target blogging.
It's weaponized blogging at its finest. I was wondering if that tower could be putting out those blogs... banging those blogs in an attempt to get rid of them, or is it their satellite boxes out of order causing the excess blogs?
Good God.
I know. Again, this may not be your area of quote-unquote work, but when you have time, would you please check this out to see what you think about the area and the extreme, constant, verbally abusive people aiming their aggression at the area and at people in general. You will all know better than I. Just know that these behaviors are not normal, not in line with intelligent thinking or the environmental impact of what they are doing. Thanks! Peace out.
So she's not sure if the new tower is making blogging worse or trying to help battle the blogging.
She doesn't know. She just knows that blogging is involved and that she has witnessed it. These physical blog manifestations.
Understand that this is our last communication with her? She might not exist anymore.
I know.
What was the black lightning wall?
I don't see, and she just.
What was the ...
She never filled in what that was.
I guess she was just trying. She was like, "It's a wall of. I'll figure that out later."
And then she just sent it. I don't know, man.
A wall of black lightning, and a tower arose out of the ground.
Babble.
Maybe she tried to walk through the lightning wall and just fried herself. She got blogged out. That was like a...
She's flying through...
That was concentrated blogs.
Flying through the internet like Reboot. Oh my God. Yeah,
New game.
We'll see. We'll see if we can figure it out. We'll see. Maybe
now
if we can get an address, maybe we have to go visit her. I'll look up flight costs.
Then we'll disappear.
Yeah, I want to see what these blogs. She must mean something. So I want to know what it is.
What if she's got like? What if she's like a magnet crystal person? And she's just interpreting like electrical fields as blogs.
I was thinking that she was like they living it.
Oh, fuck, you just reminded me. Oh, my God. You just reminded me. The woman that talked about the Morgellons outside of Bohemian Grove also was like, they're in there. This is so good. I can't believe I forgot this. The guy's like, so what are they doing in there so bad? She goes, they're in there. BG&E representatives are in there. And that's where they develop the smart meters. And those smart meters are killing us. They are smart murder. They kept using this thing called smart murder. They were like, they perform smart murders? And the guy goes, what's a smart... No lie. He goes, what is a smart murder? And they go, well, a smart murder is when you plan out a murder to not get caught. And they're very good at executing smart murders.
Holy shit.
But she's like, my daughter gets migraine headaches and blood comes out of her ears ever since She complains about high-pitched noises ever since the smart meter was installed in our home. And I think she was like, there was like a government test results that were issued on the smart readers that said that they were like akin to weaponized radiation.
Jesus Christ!
They tell us they're just monitoring our electrical uses, but they're actually just planning to. They think so many people think that Bohemian Grove is a group of people that want to kill 95% of the population. They think like they're gonna go to Bohemian Grove one day and everyone's gonna die except everyone's there.
It's like that. What's that place? There's this it's called like the American Stonehenge or something like that, and it's modern. It was put up in like the 70s or 60s. And it's these big monuments, and on them is rules for a successful...
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, they put them there in case the world explodes if someone finds it.
Yeah, and the one that makes everybody like... is the one like keep your population under like...
Yes.
Like 10 million or something like that.
Yeah, I forget what the number is.
Yeah, and it's... And people are like... How could you possibly... control killings? And, it's just... I mean, it's just... Factually, that's a good move. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, that was something like a lot of the people were talking about. They were like the Federal Reserve was put in place because of Bohemian Grove and all this stuff. And just as for our listeners, whenever anyone starts talking about the Federal Reserve as like some sort of conspiracy or whatever, just think about if we went back to the gold standard, everyone would be poor. Because there isn't enough gold for us to all have some to then trade to each other for goods and services. There's just not enough of it. Like, anybody who's like, we need to go back to gold and silver, it's like, no, you just need to go away. You need to go live in a country where you don't pay taxes and someone does, like, you can just pay for stuff with blowjobs and fucking goats. Like, that's where you need to live. Because there are too many people on Earth for us to use gold. Precious metals as currency ananymore.
Also, we use precious metals to build things.
Yes, for electronics.
Gold is like critical for like the modern electrical age.
It's the best conductor we have, and shut the fuck up.
And with that,
sorry.
Yeah, blowjobs and goats. You heard it here first. Oh man, I think that's a wrap on another successful episode of They Know. I have been Ba.
I have been Map.
You go ahead and have yourselves an enlightened day.
You have just listened to They Know, a pseudo-educational podcast about pseudo-science and conspiracy theories, available only on Thunder Grunt. Questions, complaints, conspiracy theories, and other truths can be posted to facebook.com/TheyKnowPodcast. Trust no one, except us, of course.
You're having that the spires money out and get it. The powers you never he also need to need up this and the sauce is state yelp a whole marks there gets you swims a whole hot knife out there gets no bumps there all bad knife out you're all now female you're right you're this me and the alerts there gets you know the sheep what yells well, we're out now for you little what's this little career? You guess shit is it? See if you somebody out in that see me that the air power see if you somebody out over your scaff and I look zero well
Yes, the Amber's
oh well so look green it was well so look to me guess the air gets to go see my well so look you can it
alright then I'll help.
This is the by a lot certainly serious and now but it's just this girl like it's all but this she has it absolutely fell flying on back really just we there gets to go see Mr. Right you're there gets the problem of ash then the problem that fell you know because they said it yeah well because when it had long crossing really Sterkes en ervoor kan worden. Dus zo weer is dit er dus nek. Nou, je was niet afgezet. Ja, de wist dat heb ik er nou. En daar heb ik als er hier mee krijgt zo.
Ja, het was nieuws niet bezongen. Was nou, dat wordt niet. Nou, was de gas erop, er al weer. Ah, heel weinig. En je af zo. Wat dit hier gaat heel weer snel. Nou, is door heel niet. Hey.
Ja.
Dan heb je die heel erg, maar.
Ik het deel van dat je er niet zo ja.
Ja, ik maar.
Zo is aan.
Nou, zing je erbij.
Niks daar is. Voorzat, als wel hier surfen, het is wel weer heel niet. Ja, hier even ringers naar de binnen, dat is zeker. Wil brother knows niet alles uit. Wie was de station? Nou, wie zeg ik nou, dit vaag, wie zal nou uit, dan al heel re. Heel such dit en allemaal alles. Nee, dat is de vaag heel. Nou, ik weet nog niet nou. Heel sorry you. Ik heb ze er vol burn of near you be nothing as it. All the things you even just sell every night, you can sell every new. Lives in the side, you're feeling in your mouth.